Webinars that Biomark has been putting on, and this is the first webinar with our new partners at Vaki, who recently became part of the Biomark family. So we'd like to welcome them. We're going to focus today on specifically on products for aquaculture and hatchery settings. So my colleague Matt Brower will go through some of our Biomark products that are associated with this industry in those settings. And then David Jaron, who is the Director of Sales at Vaki, will go through some of Vaki's systems and solutions for this industry. So we have another webinar in conjunction with Vaki next week that will focus on the River Watcher, which is designed more for riverine and wild species environments. And we'll also talk about some of the pit tag components of that system as well. So, but this one today will focus on aquaculture and hatchery related products. So just a couple housekeeping items here. Everyone is in listen only mode. That way we don't have any issues with microphones, cameras, that sort of things. And if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A on the right side of your screen. There's a bar there where you can enter questions. You can also directly message the participants as well. And we will also record this session. We'll post it on social media. We'll put it on the website. So if you want to share it, you are certainly welcome to do so. We will stay on the call afterwards to take any additional questions, comments that you may have. So, and as I mentioned, feel free to ask questions as we are going along. So with that, I'll introduce my colleague Matt Brower, who's sales manager here in our Boise, Idaho office. So Matt, why don't you take it away?
Thanks, Hayden, and welcome everybody to my kitchen. So today we're just going to cover a fraction of some of the products that Biomark actually manufactures and sells, but I figured I would cover a lot of the products that are really popular that we sell in the aquaculture world. And so I figured we'd start with pit tags. Biomark is actually the leading supplier of high quality pit tags. We offer tags as anywhere from this teeny tiny little 8.4 millimeter tag all the way to this gigantic 32 millimeter HDX tag. But for this webinar, I am going to focus on our two most popular tags, which are the GPT-12 tag and the APT-12 tag, which are these guys here. Now these are both at 12 millimeter, well, they're 12.5 millimeters in length and roughly around 2 millimeters in diameter. And they're both 134 kilohertz ISO FDX B tags. And so that was a mouthful, but it means they're a ISO approved 12.5 millimeter full duplex tag, if I can make it any easier than that. This is the GPT-12 right here. And the GPT-12 is an amazing tag for aquaculture breeding and broodstock programs. And this is the recommended tag that Biomark uses for if read range is not critical. If you're not looking for massive amounts of read range, this is an awesome tag. This tag is actually in hundreds of thousands of fish around the world right now. The APT-12 tag, this is going to be for your advanced applications, such as if you have a custom stationary antenna systems to detect fish in like net pens or slaughter facilities. This tag has an increased read range and increased detection probability compared to the GPT-12. It also has a proprietary IC that allows the tag to be used in high noise and high speed environments and actually performs much better, so your detection probability actually goes up significantly. Both of these tags are actually offered, and actually all of our tags with the exception of the 23 and 32 millimeter tag are going to be offered in the preloaded trays. The preloaded trays are a great mass marking tool. And if you look at it, basically there is a small silicone bump down here towards the tip of the needle that holds the tag in place. So the tag is actually held in there by that silicone bump, and then there's a HDPE push rod that actually is in the back of the needle here, so that the MK25 implant gun actually never makes contact to actually the tag itself. The MK25 is a very easy implant gun to use. It essentially uses a small, oops, there's tag shot out. a small plunger here in the back that's controlled by this black trigger right here. And to eject the needle is basically as simple as pushing the silver trigger there in the front. It's a great option if you're going to be tagging lots of fish over a short period of time. So I'll cover a couple of the readers that we sell that are really popular. This is the HPR Lite. The HPR Lite is a lightweight handheld tag reader specifically designed for use in the aquaculture and fisheries applications. Using our knowledge gained through years of research, testing, and customer feedback, we designed this reader from the ground up to be the best handheld field reader available today. This reader is very simple. It's IP67 waterproof, so it has extremely good water resistance because obviously if we're tagging fish, we're going to be dealing with water. It also has a great drop resistance and shock resistance as well. It can actually be dropped from 1 meter onto a concrete surface. The beauty of this reader is that it actually reads all tag frequencies. So it's actually a true universal reader. This tag will read all tag frequencies from 125 kilohertz tags all the way to the old 400 kilohertz tags on a few of the longer lived species out there, like some of the sturgeon out there. It has a backlit screen. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. And actually will hold 50,000 tag records. Moving to our larger reader, this is the HPR Plus. The HPR Plus is a very robust reader. It was actually developed by Biomark to really act as kind of a temporary standalone reader, meaning that if you wanted to hook it to a larger, like external antennas, you could do that. It was developed from feedback from the fish and wildlife community, and our own technical service, not excuse me, our biological services really had a hand in actually designing this reader. This reader is actually FDX-B and HDX only, meaning that it will only read the 134.2 kilohertz tags. The reason for that was so that you could maximize the read range and read speed of a single frequency of tags. This is also waterproof. This reader is also waterproof and actually can hold 1.6 million tag records. I'll run through. This one also has a really cool feature, meaning that it has a continuous read, meaning that it will continuously read tags. The noise in my house is too high.
Hey, Matt, we had a question on the HPR Lite
Uh-huh.
and the HPR Plus as well. What was the tag storage capability of the HPR Lite, and what is the cost of the HPR
Sure.
Lite?
So the HPR Lite will hold 50,000 tag records. And so it obviously compared to 1.6 million on the HPR Plus, it does not hold that many tags, but 50,000 tag records is significant. The cost on this is 815 US dollars and basically has a 1-year warranty with it. So if you ever have any issues, feel free to send it back to us. We've only had a few actual issues with this reader since its launch, and most of it has to deal with it. People went swimming with it. So we do, IP67 waterproofing means that it'll survive under a meter of water for 30 minutes. We don't recommend that you actually go diving with this one. And the HPR Plus will hold, again, 1.6 million tag records, so it's a significant reader. We use this reader a lot for if somebody wants to run like a smaller external antenna. I think we do a 24 by 24 inch, what's that, like 60 centimeters by 60 centimeter antenna. This one will actually power it. It doesn't actually have enough juice to push like to our bigger antennas, like our 10, 15, and 20-foot antennas, but it's a great option for people who want to use that.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
I'll move over to the TSUs. I got not enough shelf space here. Scientific advancements in genomics, along with continued development of affordable analytics, has really changed the genetic sampling market right now. Collecting genetic samples has never been more easier and efficient than it is with the TSU vials. So each one of these TSUs has a unique 10-digit code. I don't know if you can actually see that on the camera, probably not. But and it's all corresponding to actually this 2D barcode on the bottom. So if you scan that barcode, you'll get actually that unique 10-digit code. There's each vial actually comes with its corresponding 3 millimeter stainless steel blade punch, and you also get these little red plastic caps, and it's actually just designed so you don't cut yourself with it. So each one of these is single use, and the way you actually install it in the applicator here is you just slide it in here. And the reason for the single use is so that you don't get any cross contamination from individual to individual. So you'll just actually pinch the jaws here in the bottom. And I have a piece of paper we can experiment on. There we go. You can see we've took a nice 3 millimeter hole right there. Once you get actually done with the TSU, there's a red plug that actually comes down from inside the cutting jaw. I don't know if you can actually see the cutting jaw, the red plug, but that red plug actually comes through and seals the actual top of it. So if you look at your top of your tray, you'll notice that you have some of them that have red dots. Those are ones that are filled. And if we look closely, there's our little paper punch floating around in there. So
Question on the
yeah,
TSU.
uh,
What's the buffer liquid in the TSU units?
it's a sodium laurolite, so it's actually a saline buffer solution. And so the nice thing with this is a proprietary liquid buffer that's usable in DNA lab settings without having to actually change any existing DNA extraction protocols. It also provides a stable medium for multiple extractions. The beauty of it too is that it's ethanol free, and so it's very easy to actually ship it. Where if you're shipping ethanol, you run into issues with custom regulations, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms issues, things like that. And so that's the TSUs in a nutshell. They're actually really cool, but you can really easily take a lot of genetic samples very rapidly. And then you can also pair that TSU sample, that genetic ID number, to a PID tag number. So I figured I would run through some of the custom systems that Biomark has made for some of their slaughter facilities and net pens around the world. I don't have any net pen pictures, but I do have some really cool pictures of some of the. Elsa, could you allow me to share my content? Sorry. There we go. So Biomark has designed several fish processing and net pen antenna systems using our much more powerful IS-1001 stationary reader. And so this is actually a slaughter facility in Froya that I'm going to move this down so it's out of the picture here. But as you can see right here, I don't know if can you guys see my mouse? These are custom antennas where basically fish come through, and it's associated to actually these lights up here on the top. And so every time a fish actually goes through this right here, this light will actually come up if it has a PID tag in it. And here's another picture of just the fish going through the antennas right here. And you can see that we use all these waterproof connectors that go down and actually connect to our IS-1001 reader. Here is a picture of actually kind of the light relay right here that will, when the fish goes through, if it has a PID tag in it, this light will light up right here. You can see it's really moving quick through these antennas. And so this would be a really good application for the APT12 tag, where you're in a high noise environment, meaning that you're indoors, you're in a big electronic area, you have a lot of wires running around all through the facility. So we can actually choke this antenna field or this RFID field into just reading in the center of the belt right there. And so it really doesn't actually, and there's no outside interference actually affecting this RFID antenna. And so the nice thing too is that when these fish run through this light pops up and everybody can visually see it. We also offer a sort by code. That's a system associated with PLCs that allows gates to actually be activated and diverted when you get a pit tagged fish, that you want to move into a different part of the facility. If a fish comes through the antenna, the light will come on, a gate will activate, and the fish will be diverted into a different area. Biomark also builds a lot of custom antenna systems to monitor real-time in net pens and tank applications. I don't unfortunately have any pictures of those. That's pretty much it for like some of the slaughter facilities. I figured I would show you guys kind of the DCM software, which is our new data collection software that we are using now. Let me turn everything on here. So the data collection module software, DCM, was created to allow for rapid, seamless wireless data collection from a variety of different peripheral devices. And especially to pair it with like a smaller mobile platform like a smaller Android tablet. The DCM is affordable and extremely user-friendly, allowing for the user to create data fields or modified data fields on the fly. Right now, the DCM software is offered for both Windows 10 PCs and Android tablets 5.1 or newer. For this webinar, I'll use my computer here, which is a Windows 10 machine. Uh, and I have already built kind of a sample template. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yep, we got it, Matt. There's just a slight delay, I think, between what you're talking about and what we're seeing. Proceed.
Yeah. So when you first create a session, you'll actually come to the configure menu right here, and this will actually allow you to add all your peripheral devices. I've already actually added, and so for this, I'm going to use the HPR light reader that you guys saw earlier. I'm going to use this 50 centimeter measuring board, and then I'm going to use a small little barcode scanner to actually scan the bottoms of the TSUs. The data fields are actually associated with each of the peripheral devices, and so if you have a measuring board, electronic, an RFID scanner and a barcode, these will come up as tag ID, length, and TSU vial number. But then you can add a whole host of different data fields. I have species built here, vaccine, yes or no, secondary ID. So if you had like a Floyd tag or a visual ID that you wanted to associate with. The general over here on this, so there's 3 tabs here on the top, but the general over here on the right, this is going to be just your metadata. So this is going to be your administrators, your locations, things like that. This actually has nothing to do with each individual tagging record and really is not recommended. But if you wanted to create, just like water temperature or something like that, you could actually do that here. So once you've got everything added, you simply just hit the Start Connect key. And it goes out and it's basically searching for, and of course I didn't have my reader on, it's searching for all the Bluetooth devices we told that we were going to use. And then once you get to this screen right here, now this is where we're going to start actually tagging. And so if we simply just scan a tag, we'll actually get started here. Is it keeping up, Hayden?
We're almost there.
Okay.
I think, have you scanned the tag yet?
I have.
There we go. Okay, I can see it now.
Okay. And then if we take a length with the magnetic stylus, the length will pop up. And then if we scan the bottom of the TSU vial, that 10-digit number will actually come up. Is it keeping up?
Yes, we're good now.
Okay. And then you see the asterisk over here on the right. This is actually a required field, and so you will not actually be able to go on and do the next tag record until that field is actually fulfilled. And if you have a secondary ID or whatever you want to call it, you can call it A65. There we go. And I have the actual trigger set on to where I actually don't even have to really touch the tablet to go from one record to the next. So I can simply just scan another tag and go from there. And you see that Atlantic salmon is already populated. Well, I had it as a repetitive field. So if you're only tagging, you're in a hatchery setting and you're only tagging rainbow trout that day, so it just eliminates one more touch of the tablet and it expedites the tagging process quicker. I figure right now I can just show you kind of guys an overview of me running through some tags here. Did that change the screen? Are we seeing the top of the measuring board now? We're good to go?
Yes, we're good.
All right. And so we simply just scan a tag, take a length. You can also hook a whole host of different scales to it. I actually don't have a scale with me right now, but you can hook anything with a Bluetooth. That's the key to all these peripheral devices, is they have to actually be a Bluetooth device. And so we can just, really keep going through it. But we do have a couple of different scale options available right now. And so if you need any more information on which scales are actually available, let us know and I can give you a list of things like that. So that's pretty much all I have on my end. Is there any questions?
Matt, one question on the DCM. What's the cost on that?
So right now, the software is $495 for the first year, and this that will include me and actually installing the software and then creating a custom template for you. And then it's $375 for each additional year after that. And so it's on an annual subscription basis right now. The Samsung tablet, I have a Samsung tablet here. This is just the Tab Active 2, which is a ruggedized Android tablet. This tablet goes for around $450, so it's actually extremely affordable. And it passes all the U.S. military's drop and water and sand and ice certification. The electronic measuring board, and we do these in two different lengths. The 50 centimeter board goes for $24.50, and then we have a 1 meter board that goes for $28.50. And then depending on which piece and part you want, like the little Bluetooth scanner is I think $450. The RFID readers are anywhere from $800 to $2,000 or $3,000, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, let us know. We did it kind of a la carte because a lot of customers already have an RFID reader, and so we can customize it and piece it together however you want.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. That's the questions for you, and great overview. And now I'd like to turn it over to David Jaron, who is the sales director at Vaki. And David is going to give us a little rundown on Vaki's products as they relate to aquaculture and hatchery settings. Go ahead, David.
Thank you very much, Hayden. And just like to start off by saying hello and welcome to everybody from here in Kópavogur, Iceland, the home of Vaki. Unfortunately, it's not such a beautiful day today as it can be. It's a bit rainy, cloudy and overcast. But as Hayden said, my name is David Jaron and I'm the sales director for Vaki. And this October, I will have been with the company for nearly 19 years. As you may be able to tell, I'm not a born and bred Viking, but I did move here from Scotland with Edda Rosa, my Icelandic wife, and two small boys back in 2001, allegedly for a 1-year sabbatical, but I'm still clearly waiting on those return tickets. So now I'd like to take the opportunity to tell you more about who we are at Vaki and what we do.
Do you see the slides?
Do you see the slides, everybody?
Yes, we're good.
Good. Helping me here is Björk, our marketing manager. So just to let you know, we're a tag team. So I may be asking Björk to help me along the way. So Vaki are a pioneer and recognized world leader in fish counting and size estimation for aquaculture. Our equipment is now used with almost all species in industrialized fish farming and deployed in over 60 countries around the globe. At Vaki, our primary aim has been to use the best available technology to provide fish farmers with accurate and reliable information, particularly on fish numbers and size. This allows for well-informed decision making, which has a direct impact on fish welfare and the performance and efficiency of our customers' production. So over the last 34 years, we've developed our product portfolio to include a full range of counters, for all possible applications and sizes of fish. So for example, on the bottom left of the screen, the bioscanner, that was the first automatic fish counting system ever used in fish farming. The largest and newest counters that we have in our range are up to 3 meters long, which is the B3000 counters, which we put on wellboats. So we're counting juveniles and prawn larvae at around 30 milligrams, and all the way up through the production cycle to these harvest sizes of 10 kilograms and bigger. What we see here is the Macro XL counter, or what we call the Macro XL, and it's one of our most popular counters, and using, like all our counters, our well-known line scanning and image recognition technology. This gives a level of accuracy combined with very high counting speeds that sets Vaki apart. Other benefits include the ability of our counters to help ensure that the operator has set the counter up properly and is using the equipment within its own capabilities. So the counter itself will give you warnings when it's not happy that the setup has been done correctly. And if it detects that it's getting close to its own maximum counting capacity, it will put up a warning on display. All our counters produce easy to access count quality reports, and they do record and store the images of every fish after each and every counting session. So this count quality information can be accessed easily to validate and verify the count and ensure that the accuracy, if ever that is needed. So all the Vaki counters can be monitored and controlled remotely from any smart device using our Vaki app. And when connected to our smart grader and pumps, allow the user to remotely control these units, or the counter itself can fully automatically control the pump and the grader in full smart flow mode. Our unique technologies have been utilised for new and groundbreaking range of smart fish pumps and graders, and we are currently finalising a game-changing fish density control system. So the new smart pump includes Wi-Fi connection and auto priming to ensure that there's no loss of prime, reducing performance and preventing cavitation to achieve the best possible fish handling and welfare. The smart pump can be remotely controlled with a handheld device or directly from the counter, as I've just mentioned earlier. The smart grader has changed the game completely in sorting fish by size. Our grader has full electronic control, and the precision rollers ensure that the highest grading accuracy is achieved. The grader can be remotely operated and monitored with the Vaki app, just as the counter and the pump, or again controlled by the counter in smart flow. Also, it can be manually controlled via the touchscreen, where the digital readout shows the lower and upper size ranges for each grade clearly visible on the display. The special inlet was purposely designed to make sure that the fish spread evenly across the 10-track rollers, and it has an electrically tilting bed, again, which helps achieve both the best possible grading and the highest capacity. So some other main product lines in aquaculture for Vaki are systems for estimating biomass and monitoring growth of fish when they're in the sea cages. We also develop and innovate feeding systems, and we are improving the environment in fish cages with our sea pen aeration and oxygenation systems, which are used quite significantly in the largest salmon farming area in Norway. We at Vaki are also active in the conservation environment, as Hayden mentioned earlier, with the Vaki River Watcher, used to monitor wild fish and migration in rivers. And as he said, there will be a specific webinar dedicated to the River Watcher next week. So at Vaki, we always try and focus on market-driven product development in direct cooperation with our customers in fish farming. And in that vein, I'm going to tell you a little more about the smart flow system. Again, it's a pioneering and breakthrough innovation that integrates our intelligent smart pumps, the smart graders, and the Vaki counters into a fully automatic grading system. So we're going to start, and Björk's going to start us off with a quick animated clip to give you an overview of the concept, and I'll then give a short presentation on some of the key elements that are involved in SmartFlow, and we will end up with some video footage of a real system in action. So as we saw there, all the Vaki smart equipment, as we call it, can be linked directly in the SmartFlow software program and connected directly to the Vaki cloud. And that's where we will store all the logs of how the equipment was used, the information that was produced, and the reports. And these can be easily accessed via the internet from anywhere at any time.
Hey, David.
Yes?
I think we had a little bit of a delay on the video coming through the webinar. Is there, if someone wants to see that video kind of in real time, is that on YouTube, or where can they find that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's on YouTube, and there's links on our website as well if they need to see it.
Great. Thank you.
So maybe you didn't see that everything can be linked directly to the cloud. Yeah. Well, let's assume that you know that. So what's also quite interesting, or I think important for us, is that the information contained in the reports we can use online to automatically identify if there's been issues with the counting or grading or pumping. And that can be flagged up to our service department and customer support people in our service centres. This information also can be used by the customer just to ensure that they have full traceability for all the processes which involve Vaki equipment. And particularly now with the way that we're trying to track everything from hatchery to harvest, and we believe this is becoming increasingly important. The Vaki Cloud solution is also part of our customer care package, which I'll tell a bit later. And we at Vaki, we now have a global presence with daughter companies in Chile, Norway, and Scotland, and sales and service partners in over 20 countries. Now with our Biomark colleagues, we also look forward to strengthening that customer support and service worldwide. So, as I mentioned earlier, we have an increasing focus now on the support of our equipment, both physically and remotely, and also building up value packages around owning our equipment and partnering with us at Vaki. So our customer care program includes some of these points that you see here on the slides, with the intention of giving our customers inclusive support to ensure maximum value when you partner with us. So I knew it was short, so I'd like to thank you and the team at Biomark for this opportunity to give you a brief overview of our efforts at Vaki. And I'm now going to ask Björk again to show you this video clip of the SmartFlow system, which involves our 8-inch pump, the XL counter and our smart grader at a customer site in full operation. And please feel free to ask myself or Björg any questions following that. Thank you very much. Cue. Action.
Switching screens. Should come up any minute.
Oh, yeah.
David, looks like we've got a pretty good delay on that video. Maybe you could talk us through it.
All right, so maybe what you've not seen, I've had bits and pieces of, was the Vaki pump, smoothly sending the fish now to our smart grader, which we see here going up into the grader, and that grader has a tilting bed. And now we're watching the fish being spread out from the inlet across the rollers. And this is key to making sure that you get a nice grade so the fish are not bunched together. And also you're using the whole width of the grader so you get maximum capacity available. And because we have this tilting bed, we can also adjust the speed of the fish sort of going down through the grader. As I mentioned before, this is a breakthrough machine, and we designed this from the ground up using the best possible components, such as the rollers, to again make sure the precision is there, and the fish welfare is always first and foremost in our minds. And they will go from the grader once they've been sorted into 4 different size groups to be counted. So in smart flow mode, the counter is monitoring the split from the grader and can actually feed back to the grader if it needs to be adjusted. So that can be done either by the user manually from the counter on the screen, or allow the counter just to do it automatically. The same is true of the pump. The counter can be used to speed up or slow down the pump, or from the screen by the user, or just allowing the whole system to take care of the whole process on its own. So what I maybe rushed over in the beginning was that initially using SmartFlow, you can tell the system what you believe is the starting point, in other words, how your fish are, the spread of the population, how many there are, and tell the system how you would like them to be sorted into the different size groups. And the counter then monitors that result and changes things if need be. And all of that information and logging is kept and synchronized onto the cloud or available directly from the equipment itself. So it's both trying to optimize this grading process, which is important to fish farmers, and also to maximize the use of equipment, and if I dare say, also minimize the intensity of labor required to do it, because it can be quite a labor-intensive process. and it can be very variable, the result, depending on who's doing it. So like most things in life, once we let the machines take over, the artificial intelligence can often do a better job than ourselves. So if there's any questions on the equipment itself, on the separate pieces of equipment, what Vaki do, please, we look forward to receiving them.
David, we've got a question here for you that came through. This is kind of speaking about, obviously there's some other manufacturers out there of pumps and counters, and this individual wants to know what is the Vaki difference? What sets you guys aside from other manufacturers?
Well, I think what sets us apart, generally speaking, is that right from day one, Herman, who started the company, has always been very good listener to his potential customer, and we've always developed our equipment to suit the demands of the user and trying to utilize the best available technology to do so. So it's maybe a cliche, but our equipment is definitely solution driven or solution led, and remains so. So of course I can talk about individual products, and probably one that springs to mind is the counter. And I think it's, as I said, we're recognized as, first of all, the pioneer in counting live fish, but also the world leader in that regard because of the technology that we have employed with line scanning cameras and the image recognition. And we've been developing that since before I started with the company, so that the customers not only can be confident that they're getting the accuracy, they can also validate that very easily just with these reports that I've been referring to. And the fact that the equipment is also helping and assisting the user make sure they get the best result. So we've tried to take that method and thinking all the way through to the extra equipment that we now supply, which is the add-on to the counters, which is bringing the fish to the counter, the pump, and also the grader, which is now used often to sort the fish out before they're counted. So I think in general, that's what sets us apart, is that we're trying to take the whole solution holistically, and also make sure that everything can be validated, and they have our customers and users are fully supported. And we again, maybe as a cliche, but identify our customers as partners rather than people we're supplying to. Does that answer the question?
That's great. Thank you, David. Another one that just came in regarding welfare. How has the welfare of the fish been measured going through the grader or the pump system? For example, injuries, lesions, or physiologic measures?
Well, I'm afraid at this moment I only have anecdotal evidence myself. So we've got a lot. The new graders are being used in the most intensive, high volume Atlantic salmon farming facilities in Norway and Faroe Islands, and now Gareth in Scotland has put some of that equipment into Scottish salmon farming companies. So the feedback that we have is that this is game changing in terms of its performance and the welfare of the fish going through this process. I mean, the pump in particular was designed and used for very fragile, small organisms such as prawn larvae. So it always was very gentle on fish, on small fish in particular. And partly the reason that before we started manufacturing the pump, that we actually started to supply the pump for our counters, which were counting very small fish juveniles. So I'm sorry I don't have a report, but as I say, it's anecdotal evidence that the fish welfare is more than catered for and improved dramatically.
Okay, great. Thank you, David. I think we have worked through all of our questions here, so we will stay on the line for a little bit in case anybody has any additional questions or comments. As I mentioned before, this has been recorded. We'll post it. You'll get a link to it. So if you want to review it, send it to anybody else, feel free. And then by all means, reach out to us if you have any questions. Once again, we hope everybody on the call is healthy and safe, and your loved ones are as well. So thank you from the crew here at Biomark, and thank you to our colleagues at Vaki for joining us as well for this phone call. And we will look forward to seeing you at future webinars. So thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.